Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Malloy.
Here.
Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Bernard.
Here.
Commissioners, so for Commissioner Malloy's request, I added a moment of silence on. Item 1 is to dispense with reading the minutes of the workshop session dated August 18th and the regular meeting dated August 19th, and accept and approve the video recordings of both meetings as official meeting minutes. Item 2 is to approve the bills. Item 3. Stacy. To enter into a contract with Sundance Systems, Inc. to replace the existing CAD system at the Trumbull County 911 Center in the amount of $306,680 for the first year, to be paid by fund to be determined, and to approve Tony Bernard, President of the Board of Commissioners, to sign said contract. For good timing, Casey. We're on your
Sorry, we had an interview, so we're on your hand.
I was just going to call you. Subsequent years will be paid by Trumbull County 911 in the amount of $188,880, beginning in year 2. In the note, this agreement shall be an initial term of 12 months, and then the agreement shall automatically renew for 12 months unless terminated by either party by giving a 45-day written notice. So, Casey, I don't know if you want to add anything. I read your item.
Yeah, Tacey McDonough, 911 director. We talked about this last week. Some of the comments were, check with neighboring agencies who've used them. I had a call from an Avon police chief. He said they were originally with Sundance. They switched when a different chief took over. And then when he took over as chief, they went back to Sundance. He said their customer service is better than anybody they dealt with. He said, like all CADs, you have issues. He goes, it's not a perfect system. He goes, you'll have that with any system. He goes, but their customer service is outstanding. And being that they're Ohio based, he goes, you feel like you get a little bit more personal touch and involvement and a little bit more of catering to anything they need. So he had nothing but high marks to say about them. I think we've kind of went over this with the police chiefs, and you guys have had the chance to demo it as well and kind of see everything that it entails. So it's one of those, the lesser of two evils at this point. I mean, we know what we've had for several years. There's been various complaints. While there has been improvements in the last year or so with some equipment upgrades that we've had with our current vendor, on the field side of it, the officers have still had some issues. So I think at this point, it would be a good change to get everybody on the same page, instead of having it so segmented.
Okay, we have Chief Buholland here.
Chief Ray Buholland. Just to touch on what we spoke about last week, and really since May 27th, I want to thank the commissioners for coming to the meetings that we had, and also that demonstration. I know it's lengthy. We have a regional center, and to have us all on one system is going to be, it is exactly what a regional center is supposed to be. Everybody pushing in the same direction. So if you have any questions, anything further about the Sundance, we've been a customer of theirs since 2017. Just like Tacey said, the customer service is unbelievable. We've had no issues. The nice part about it is cloud-based. It is web-based. I know that you were talking about a backup internet provider, but I can log on from home if I need to. If something were to happen, and I can get instant access to what exactly is going on, not only in our township, but once the county's on board, in the whole county.
We'd just like to thank you. Back in May, you came to the board and talked about the need for a new CAD system. And at that time, you indicated to the board that that was the number one priority you felt for 911 system, that we bring everybody on board with the same communications. And at that time, we told you, board, we committed that we were going to look into it. And right. That's the 90 days with your help and the help of all the police chiefs and fire chiefs in this town. And now we're ready to move forward. So I want to thank you for all your input and all the officers and police chiefs that helped you. And I think it's a great step for our 911 system. Again, thank you.
I couldn't agree more. And thank you to all the commissioners for coming to these demos and the meetings and being involved. It's one thing to have a meeting in May and listen to our complaints. It's another thing to follow through. So we do definitely appreciate that, and Trumbull County is going to be in a better place as far as emergency services.
Let's just keep that line of communication with.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First, does this cover the whole county now? Lordstown, Girard, Hubbard City, are they all Sundance now, or are there departments out there that still aren't?
Warren had is not, they have part 43. Gerard, I believe will fall under this, but I know Niles and Lordstown are 100% people, as long as we did. That was kind of their, which they had already called, so they severed ties.
What would it take for Warren to do it?
Say yes.
Since we dispatched Warren.
They just have to agree to it.
That's the conversation. I mean, they have a little change of administration over there, so I'm not sure if they have different point of view than previous, but we can reach out and see.
I just think it would make sense if we're gonna be countywide. There's so many municipalities, there's so many townships that border Warren. That it is good to know what's happening there that's gonna bleed into your jurisdiction. That we should be put pressure on. As the best thing you guys did is got together and put pressure on us. The other thing I'm gonna go on a limb and say too, please keep the pressure on us to increase staffing there, to get better accommodations there. You still got dispatchers working 65 hours a week there, servicing your officers. And there's going to be a problem someday. So I hope you all stay together and stay on us. We reacted really quick when you came together and put a flame under the board's ass, per se. Please keep doing that with this other stuff too.
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of disagree with that. They didn't put pressure on us. They just notified me because I was unaware of the problem. And all they did was ask me to come to a meeting, and I went to the meeting and I listened to their concerns, and I immediately said, you need to come to the board. So, it wasn't something that they pressured me to do, and they just made it a point. They wanted me to be aware of what the problem was, and we reacted to that. And that's where a line of communication need to keep that. So,
Everybody working together.
Absolutely.
It's really the goal here and keep those open lines of communication. Yeah, there's other issues, as everybody knows, but that's for another day.
And we're working on those also.
Right, yeah, I mean, we have good communication with Casey now and also with Patty. I just talked to Patty yesterday about a couple of things, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a positive step for the county. Again, Gerard's on it, they've been on it, Sundance. That's a PSAP that stands alone. I know Niles has already signed and they're moving forward. Lordstown is with Sundance. So all your rollover 911 will be all on one communication, which is going to be huge.
And Chief, I want to thank you too, but one thing commissioners and Commissioner Molloy had said, but we don't need to put pressure. I really believe that these communities, now that everybody is going to be on this operating system, I believe that these remaining few that aren't, I think that they're gonna see the light and come, not being pressured to come, but yet, seeing that it's better security for their town, for their township, for their fire department. So I think that, and I like to commend Tacey on this too for moving forward with this, doing the research and, getting this all arranged and in order. We had a pretty solid 4 hours at that meeting when we were there. We didn't know anything that was going on with that software and all that, but it was really interesting to see how this all works and the lines of communication that you need with 911 for better security for, this county. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think the only one left will be Warren, and that'll be an individual decision.
Yeah, I think sooner or later they're going to come on board.
Again, as long as we communicate, good things happen.
Yes. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Chief.
Commissioners, I suggest maybe using our casino fund, Sheriff Taylor Commissioner's Office.
I thought Casey said she had the money.
I said for future subsequent years,
But not the initial.
Okay.
subsequent years, because it'll replace our existing costs that we have going on.
And they want it in quarters, so it's 76,000 something.
For this quarter.
I think we gotta put up front 2 quarters. Okay. So as long as you sure agree with that. We have spent their money out of that fund, so.
Yeah. I mean, we could do that, but I have another avenue that I want to check out before I mention it.
Yeah, because there could be another avenue.
Maybe we could take a third of that from somewhere else. But that's the conversation between me and the prosecutor.
How those calls come in too, Commissioner. I mean, if those
I
calls.
mean, initially we can do that,
associated with
and we have another.
We still have two
Okay,
more quarters, right? So if we take 2 quarters and pay us,
Yeah.
yeah, we can just modify it.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Should have said drug related.
Okay.
But we could have another avenue.
Okay, items 4 and 5. Item 4 to approve the second extension of the youth services agreements is listed. And item 5 to approve the submitted amendments to the bylaws of the Workforce Development Board of Trumbull County. These were submitted by Dimitri Leotis and Workforce Development Board, Trumbull County.
Thank you. It's Dimitri Leotis, Workforce Development. Item number 4, we've been engaged in a service contract for 2 years, 2 vendors for youth services under our Workforce Engagement Opportunity Act funds. This is just the second and final extension. It's a 3-year agreement with the extension possibilities. Next year, we'll have to go for procurement services. So, right now we're okay with the situation, so allow the extension. The board already approved the extension. They're this week. And the last one, or the second one is, we once a year we have a bylaws committee for our board, and we review the bylaws to see if there's any improvements we can make. This year, we do have 2 improvements that are just pretty much processes that I just want to give to you guys. I sent it to you via email as well, or through the posting. Two small items, just small process items. First one is the board staff will solicit board membership utilizing a standard protocol established by the chief elected officials. Previous administration requested that all departments have a standard operating procedure for certain things, so I've created the standard operating procedure. I made a copy for you so that you have it. It's a standard protocol. So I just wanted to make sure that was there because of the process, we instead of doing a monthly staggered type of appointments, we're reducing it to twice a year. So because the process is much more intense than it was previous. So that's one change. And then the second change is just a notification to the board of when meetings occur. If it says not less than, we're just changing it to approximately because it's a Thursday and we have a holiday or something to that effect. We don't want to be absolutely want to be roundabout. And also to eliminate the telegram, cable, fax, email, and just change it to electronic, which encompasses it all. And sure, those are the 2 changes. And this one was also approved by the board recently. Any questions? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Move on. Item number 6 is to adopt a resolution to approve or deny the proposed vacation of a portion of Gulf Avenue, Smithsonian Street, Evergreen Avenue, and Taylor Avenue, as listed in said petition, Trumbull County, Ohio, located in LaGree Township. Public viewing was held August 12th, 12 noon, at the site of the proposed vacation. Public hearing was held August 19th at 12 noon here in the Commissioner's hearing room. Items 7 through 9 were submitted by the County Engineers Department. Secretary walk in.
I was late. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, Gary Schaefer, Engineer's Office. Number 7 is to approve the closure of Hartford, 5 Points Hartford Road in Hartford Township, and that is for the Hartford Apple Festival. Saturday, September 19th. Approximate times are going to be 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. That closure. Number 8 is to approve the closure of Educational Highway in Champion Township, beginning September 8th, and reopening November 5th. That is for the bridge replacement there on Educational Highway. Number 9 is to approve the agreement between the county and Norfolk Southern Railway Company to provide design for professional engineering services more so for the review of our plans related to the Ohio, or all Ohio Features Fund, State Route 45, Kimberly Clark Access Road. The estimated amount's $27,500. That money was built into our agreement that was previously approved by the with MS Consultants, and I'm going to be reimbursed for the subrecipient agreement that was also previously approved by the commission. Questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, item 10, to approve the personnel action for the employment of Mr. Roger Laird to the full-time position of lead supervisor / technical operations in Trumbull County 911, earning $39.80 per hour, effective August 31st, 2026. This was submitted by Human Resources.
Commissioners Alex, Stephen, Jones, and Bush, Trumbull County Human Resources. We posted this position for supervisors, and we got 10 applicants. Of the 10 applicants, only 2 had any actual quantifiable 911 experience. Obviously, Mr. Roger Laird had been with the county in a 911 capacity for 27 years prior leaving for the private sector. Although he left to still service 911 entities across the entire state through Bearcom. So he was still very much engaged in 911 operations. We feel pretty strongly that he's on the same link, and we would be more than happy to have him back. And I'll default to Casey on any other additional questions.
I just have a question. Nothing against Mr. Laird, because I know he's going to be a major benefit. But when this happens, my only question is, when an individual leaves the county and it's gone for, I don't know how long he was Mr. Laird.
3 years, maybe?
So he still captures 27 years.
Still
Is that how that works?
Still counting time that he served, yes. So no matter,
He was still working county?
he worked for Trumbull County those full 27 years, Commissioner.
Okay, so he left 911, but he was still with Trumbull County.
But you
No,
always
he left
maintain
for
your
private
years of
sector.
service. You maintain your years of service.
So that's public service in general. For OPERS, you would retain the 27 years
Okay.
for vacations, accruals, time and retirement system. All of that is it very much matters when you're talking about OPERS. So yes, he still has that. Now,
Equivalent of like lateral transfer.
Correct.
Like my time when I was like,
And being he didn't retire, so even his sick leave is all banked if he comes back. So we get all that back.
when he left, because he vacated the county position, what our policy is, and this is very important because this is kind of happening in other areas too. I'm looking here, he left. You pay out the vacation, but the sick time per Ohio revised codes, it's in a bank for 10 years. If you come back within those 10 years, you get that sick time back. So it's still just sitting on the books. It's not paid out. It's there. One other caveat to that would be only if it's an official retirement for our county policy with 10 years of applicable pension. You retire after 10 years in the county, you can then get the sick time cashed out. But that is the only way that the sick time gets cashed out under Ohio Revised Code. Well, it's a combination of Ohio Revised Code and county policy stuff.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear about how that
No, it's a great
all
question.
works, And I know he'll be a major asset.
we're very much looking forward to Roger coming
Yeah.
back, just because he was there from the creation pretty much, so he knows a lot of where the, bodies are buried, so to speak, as far as like networking and all the equipment. And he's able to really provide some history to things that, we may not be able to find in paper. Also his tools from Bearcom, being able to program radios, that's gonna be an issue that's gonna save the county money on all sides, because if say an agency needs some radios reprogrammed, instead of contacting their vendor, he can do that. We can just assign him a detail day, he can assist with that and do it right at our office.
Roger, he was a great employee when he was here, and he was like a Swiss Army knife of talent. That he had any technical issues they had, even when he wasn't working for us anymore, when he was working for Bearcom, if he was in there servicing radios, he helped out on the floor with issues that they had, and didn't bill the county anything when he was there. He's going to be a great asset.
It's also gonna give us the ability to have some supervisory skills on the afternoon and night shift too. So when Patty and I aren't there, he'll fill in for that role of being supervisor right on the floor, available for whatever may be needed.
Commissioners, we're really trying to bridge the gap, make sure that we have coverage to just kind of round out what TC said. We need supervisory level skill set there, 24/7. It's a 24/7 operation. So absent any type of administrator there, we need somebody on the floor to be able to answer questions, resolve issues. It's of a detriment.
We're still actively looking for another supervisor. It's posted somewhere where
We
people
would
can
have
find
liked
it.
to if we could, again,
Is it posted in places right now for people to
yeah,
find
I
it?
mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
Commissioners, I hate to do this, but 10 applicants, 2 of those 10 even had relative non experience. One of the 2 was next to nothing. Roger was the most qualified. But even that, only getting 10 applicants for a 911 supervisor, I mean, that says something. It's a talented pool of people that we get lucky if we find somebody. We've
What's the
hired
starting wage on that?
pay range 10. So I don't have it off the top of my head, but whatever the entry level of pay range 10 is, I can pull it up and look. But it's a pay range 10 on our county pay scale. So Mr. Roger, obviously, Mr. Laird is coming in at 27 years. Another question that was asked is, well, what happens after this? 27 years is where you step out. So there's no other raises. There's no other step incremental raises after that outside of whatever the cost of living increases. But there is no, 30 years you get another raise, 32 years. So he's stepped out, so to speak. All these conversations have been had with him prior, to today. So
And the bottom line is the board is moving forward, trying to fill these gaps in 911. I mean,
doing everything we can.
yeah, we're doing it and we're sure you're gonna re-advertise it.
Correct.
And keep looking.
And commissioners, we have 3 other supervisors in the past 3 years, and they were all external candidates. And it was not as, so this is a really good thing. He knows what he's getting himself into. We've had some serious conversations. He worked there for 27 years. Hopefully it'll work out. I know it'll work out.
I think the benefit as well that we don't see yet is when we do find an outside candidate for a supervisor, Roger can be the one on the floor that trains them.
Correct.
So you're no longer trying to have an active supervisor who's going to be technically subordinate, training somebody ahead of them, which did not bode well in previous times.
Oh, no, I mean, I think it's a great addition or re-addition. And moving forward, once 911 makes a move, I think we'll have more applicants coming in. I really believe that.
I agree, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Item 11, to adopt a resolution acknowledging and congratulating Megan Reed, Executive Director of the Trumbull County Historical Society, selected as 2026 Nonprofit Professional of the Year, presented to a nonprofit leader who demonstrates strong leadership, innovation, and collaboration. This is submitted by Julie Green along with items 12 through 15.
Commissioners, I do have an update on this particular item. Megan wasn't sure whether or not she'd be able to come tomorrow, so if that's still up in the air. But the chamber, what Guy Coviello requested was that we actually have the resolution available at the Salute to Business. And I don't know the details on that program. I don't know if any of the commissioners were planning on attending the Salute to Business event.
It's early morning.
Yeah, it's 7:30 to 9:30 at Eastwood Event Center. So it just, if it's Thursday, September 3rd. Well, this is different.
No, that's Good Morning Trumbull, someone else speaking of. That's after that.
It's the same day. So in any case, I don't believe that they were planning on having you on the agenda. A guy just wanted to know if you would be there. So in any case, still up in the air.
Yeah.
I have to talk to Ron and Megan.
We'll look into that. I'm not sure about all of our schedules yet. We got
Yeah.
Good Morning Trumbull and we got, we'll
Yeah.
discuss it.
Well,
We'll discuss it.
yeah, I just wanted to bring
Yeah.
it to your attention.
Okay.
So that's item 11. Item 12.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I moved to that. That's you did. That's right. Okay, to authorize the fiscal administrator as designee of the Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services to execute or initiate for a 2-year period from 8/1/26 through 7/31/28, through the state of Ohio's county financial information system and any other documents necessary to acceptance by the Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Service of inter-county transfers of surplus funds from other counties and to release surplus Trumbull County funds to other Ohio counties in exchange for those accepted funds, provided that the collective funds released in a given calendar year do not exceed the collective funds accepted in that calendar year for the Department of JFS.
In layman's terms. Shelley Blosser, Job and Family Services. So we get counties that have a surplus of money. And we might need that money. And the state of Ohio, the OAC, allows us to transfer those monies. But the current procedure right now is that we have to bring it to the board to get approved. Well, there's timeframes on it. Like, right, for instance, right now, we have a transfer that needs to be done by August 28th. We were able to get it on your agenda for approval, but what we're asking for is a 2-year period where you say, you know what, you have your approvals to transfer those monies as needed. And, you know, pending our budget cuts for October, this is real important. So it basically says, like, if Geauga County has $600,000 in extra funds, and we need some of that, but 4 other counties do too, they can disperse that money up into those counties based on the population size. We also have, we checked it out, and in Region 1, Carroll County, Ashtabula, Mahoning, Geauga, Portage, Stark, Summit, Tuscarawas, and Columbiana County also have these blanket resolutions where their fiscal people can transfer the money through the CPS program without bringing it to the commissioners every single time. So it's not the general fund money, it's our money coming to,
Yeah, because my next question would have been, what are the amounts? But we don't.
We don't know.
It's not general fund money,
Right.
so.
Mr. Vanzo?
I mean, I don't think it's an.
it's been going on. I mean, like, we've been doing this, but we just have to bring it to your approval. This would just be a,
Yeah, without really digging into this, Bill Danso, prosecutor's office, without really digging into this, I don't know exactly what the answer is. I will say there's legal authority out there about if it's an exercise of discretion, the commissioners are not allowed to pass their discretion to another agency. But if this is a routine where there is no discretion, then perhaps that's a different story. And it sounds, I guess it sounds like this in some way is just a mechanical kind of thing.
yeah.
So that's something, I mean, I guess if the commissioners were more comfortable, we could look at, but again, that seems to be the dividing line with the legal authority, is whether you're assigning discretion to another body or whether you are just allowing some mechanical process to move forward.
Well, I definitely think we need to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, the only, and it's not out of our general fund. I just, do you do that with not knowing what those monies are?
Well, they're just asking for it to come in.
Right, I understand that. Instead of coming back to us every
They're not taking it
quarter
from,
or whatever.
Because of the
you do.
timeframes, that's the
Yeah.
issue.
they're not taking it from our county. We're receiving it.
Correct. The JFS, yes.
Right.
Okay, but I still think the prosecutor's office needs to look at it.
Melissa Binion, Job Family Services, I'm the fiscal administrator. I have no issue with you guys looking at it. I just want to let you know that as of right now, I have a request prepared for us to request, and chances are we won't get everything that I've requested, but my current request is for $650,000 in additional funds from approximately 8 different allocations, because we receive different kinds of funds. It's due the 28th, so if we can't get the resolution approved, I can't ask for this money. So, we may get none, we may get all of it, we may get portions of it. It's just because every county that has a resolution can put this out there and request additional funds, because it is the end of the state fiscal year and the upcoming end of the federal fiscal year. So this is a process that just makes it easier. The other thing that could potentially occur as we come to the end of the federal fiscal year and the quarter close is that other counties, when they close their quarter on September 18th, may come back and say, I'm done, I have these funds available. That's not going to go through the state process, that could just go between us as counties. And if I have to wait and come back to you all and put that on each time that we want to do that, we could lose out on the potential of getting those funds because they may go to another county that already has that resolution. So I just want to kind of put out there, we have done this in the past, but I haven't actually done it since 2023 because we don't have a resolution. So that was the last time that we did it. Previously also, the actual state part of the process didn't require a resolution the way that it does now, just between the counties. So there was a difference then, and the state has just made one process, and I can't hit the submit button on this if I don't have a resolution attached to it.
Bill Danso again, prosecutor's office. Is this, so what you're saying, this is actually common practice also around the state to get just an authorizing resolution from the.
Yes.
We
Okay,
receive an email at the beginning of every year from ODJFS reminding us that you need to look at the dates on your resolution if you have a blanket resolution. And I have reached out to my fiscal supervisor. We are in Region 1, which is in Northeast Ohio, and that's the list of counties that Shelley provided you with that already have the resolution. Summit was the one who actually provided us with the language that they use in their resolution that has already been approved by the state.
okay.
So when were you made aware that a resolution was needed?
To do this part of the process,
Yeah.
when I tried to submit it last week.
And when did the state, or you didn't know before that?
No.
So it's relatively something new for you. Well, how soon can you look at that, though?
Probably within the next 6 months or so. No, we'll talk about it. I will say this.
I mean, if you can look at it today, it's still put it on there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be the goal. I mean, and I think it does mean, I think it does mean something if this is the direction coming from the folks at the state. I think that does mean
That's an easier
something,
fit.
you know, because I also think from what I'm hearing, you know, this is not a discretionary thing of the commissioners choosing where to spend more county funds. This is simply authorizing them, it sounds like, to put a request in for additional funds. So we can work through that. I wouldn't think it'd be a problem to still have this on the agenda tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want to lose out on anything if possible. We need to move forward.
It's the
with it.
timeframes that
Yeah.
require this, because you just don't have that much time between money's available, getting on your agenda, getting to the meeting, getting your approval, getting the resolution back and sending it.
Yeah,
It's the-
and with other counties to do it, seems as though we're not going to be singled out as one county.
Commissioners, from a programmatic standpoint, Melissa hit on something that's really important. Alex Stephen Jones Bush Human Resources Department, from a programmatic standpoint or operations standpoint, there's all differing counties, right? And all different counties may have an excess in some area what we need. So it's not a perfect algorithm. So for example, if they need extra in a certain program, another county may also need it, but we're not sure. You don't know what you don't know. The goal is with the county monies, when you get these awards through these programmatic monies, you do not give it back to the state or the federal government. Once you do that, you don't get the funding going forward. So that's why these counties are trying to say, we didn't have a needy purpose for this much. We're going to help transfer this to you so we don't give it back. And then in turn, get less money in the long run from these federal and state, entities. And it's very hard. I will just say, it's hard to know what's available. So that's the only thing I wanted to say from an operational standpoint. We don't know whether the counties are, when you're talking about needy based individuals, we can say this county has this amount, this county has this amount. It doesn't work like that. It's when people come in for benefits, when there's money left over, so on and so forth, if that helps make sense.
Okay, well,
This is Melissa again, if I may. The budget redistribution process directly through the state, where we can just ask for money and they reevaluate what they have, that occurs quarterly. So that's a quarterly process. We used to just fill out the form by hand and email it. And now that they have put it into the computer, it doesn't work that way anymore. The inter-county transfers are the ones that usually need to occur much more quickly. Because if Geauga has 600,000 that they're gonna release back to the state, and they put an email out to our fiscal group that says, I have this money, I can then say, well, I can use $150,000 of that money. And instead of releasing 600 to the state, they may just give me the 150 and then only give 450 back to the state. So that also makes it.
Okay, I have a question. So to get those funds approved, does Job and Family Services, do they dictate where the money goes, or does that money have to be approved by the board to give it out?
No, the way our allocations work,
I mean, I'm just,
that's okay. No, it's fine. The way that our allocations work is that they're specific to the program. And then we either have direct expenditures, such as contracts, purchases that we make directly toward those programs. Then we also have our random moment sampling, which is what our employees do to recover the costs. It's on the computer. They fill out a form. This is what I was doing at this exact moment. And that's how we recover the costs from those programs, because that shows what they were working on. And then those funds go back into the cost pool to cover all of the other expenses, the building expenses, the rent, the indirect cost, the electricity, the gas, the payroll, all of the benefits, that kind of thing. So we don't have the latitude, if that's what you're asking, to say, we want to use this money here. We have to use it according to how we expend those funds on paper and then put them back into the state system to show that that's how we spend it.
Like if they have TANF money, SNAP money, Medicaid money, then we have to use it for that program. So when they transfer it from one county to us, it has to be that TANF. We can't use it for any other program.
but the commissioners don't necessarily have to be notified that that money's being transferred out of their county and or their program to another county.
With a blanket resolution, correct. If not, then we have to come back to you every single time we ask for a transfer.
As would the other county if they don't have
Yeah.
a blanket, yeah.
And because of the time crunch, that's where we're at. That's why we're asking for just a 2-year period to do the blanket resolution so that we have that. So when they call or when they email to say, hey, we got this money, here's our resolution, we want X amount, boom, done. Instead of coming back through each time.
It just gives us the flexibility to potentially gain funds that we may otherwise run out of. And then have to substitute the mandated sharing, which typically we use for our SNAP and Medicaid overages, or the incentives that we bring in.
It might not happen regularly. It just might happen according to when the money comes up and when we fall short.
Okay, now, items 13 through 15, submitted by the planning commission.
Julie Green, Planning Commission. Item 13 is regarding the law library project. We are asking for an extension to complete that. Again, delays with material and ordering. They're working on finalizing the finer details on that project. We had a good meeting last week with our contractor and our consultant. And right now they're working on the stones. Item 14 is to authorize our staff to mail the letters out for the second leg of the Scott Street Household Connection Project. I believe Bill McCloskey identified another 30 or 33 households within that project area that are ready to go out for bid. The first bid, I think, was 34. And so after this second round, I think there's probably only a handful of customers or households left. And I think they were going to potentially look at those on an individual basis to get them connected.
You know how much money we'll get back out of that 900,000 we appropriated?
Once this bid opening occurs, I think we'll have a better idea of how much money will be left.
So because of the financial
Yes.
qualifications, we know there's some money coming back. We're not gonna fill all the houses.
That's my understanding based on, and I don't want to speak for Gary, because he's not here, you bro.
He's right here.
Right there.
Gary can speak to that. I didn't see you walk in. You usually sit over here. I'm sorry.
somebody of them.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. You talk about
Yeah,
that.
Gary Newbrow, sanitary
Thanks,
engineer. Yeah, commissioners, let's look and see where these bids come in. It's gonna be, the total cost can be less than 900,000. Any excess funds, I can use it on the Crane Drive project, just to let you know. Anything we can do to reduce that cost of Crane Drive. And it is coming up, we're gonna bid that out real soon. So, we'll be able to spend those funds by the end of the year.
Gary, you want to mention that the Newton Township trustees are out this weekend getting those last handful.
Yeah, we're making sure everybody that is eligible out there in Newton Township to get connected, that we are approaching them and making sure they don't miss out. And the trustees are helping us with that endeavor.
But before you apply that to Crane Drive, let the board know how much is left and then we can decide. whether we want
It's gonna have to go through, it's gonna have to go through you before I can transfer it anyway, so just to give you a heads up that I do have a need for those excess funds.
So do we.
Okay, all right, well, that's what we'll discuss.
Okay. So the bid opening is September 17th. 2 p.m. Item 15 is to authorize renewal of a citizen participation policy. We do this annually. It's on behalf of the CDBG program. We apply for a number of these grants annually, including the allocation. And this just defines the process for our outreach and our complaint process. Is that it? I think so.
Question, just for, I guess for the good, with these ARPA funds that we spent, some of these bigger project things like the steps. I noticed like McDonald's fire truck that we bought for them, the ambulance, they put on the side. This fire truck dedicated, paid for by Trumbull County Commissioners through ARPA funds. They have a placard on the ambulance. Like these steps have a placard. These steps are paid for by
Your name.
what the commissioners. And then is that something when we've spent this ARPA money? Other ambulances, other townships, or whatever, have they done that, or is that a stipulation that they show where the money came from, or that they do that?
Well, in terms of competitive bidding, you are required to announce where the funding occurred, but in terms of having a plaque, I don't know that that is in the Code of Federal Regulations. We have a plaque ordered.
Like
That
Mecca's town hall they're building or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if they're having a plaque. It just depends on whatever's left in your budget. So on the plaque for the steps, it'll have the Board of Commissioners names and the contractor and the architect, and then a date. That's it. So it'll be similar to the one that was there, placed there in 1997.
Just curious.
Item 16 through 23, submitted by the sanitary engineers department.
Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioner Mark Toda, he has been with our department for 36 years now, and yes, he has been there long enough. He's going to be missed. I mean, he was, with that sort of experience.
I like how you say this.
But that sort of experience, I mean, you can just understand the impact it's going to have on us. But we do wish him,
Hard to replace.
yeah. We just want to thank him for his dedication to the county and all these hard years of working. He's not coming in for the presentation, but we are going to have a little get together for him on Friday and present him with the resolution then.
36 years of customer service.
Yes.
I think burned out too.
All right, items 17, 18, and 19 are all related. This had to do with a private extension of water and sanitary sewer lines up through the Sable Creek development. Julie, how many houses got connected here?
Gary, this was one of the projects that was through the planning commission. I think this was just to serve
Yeah.
on the acreage. And
Right.
it's my understanding that they have to request the final approval through our process. So I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
At least the maintenance bond.
all right. Well, we can tell you that for the water and sanitary sewer lines, they are complete. They're being extended up through vacant parcels at the moment. And I don't have the exact count of how many
So they sent
buildable
you,
lots they now have.
they sent you the maintenance bonds?
Well, for the water and the sanitary sewer. Now, you
So
probably
this is-
need them for the roads, streets, things like that. Curbs.
Well, we need it for everything.
Okay, all
So
right.
because it went through the planning commission, typically what we do is we have all of that put on the agenda for them to accept the street
Okay.
ultimately. But
All right, well,
might need to resend this at a later date or modify it.
okay, all right.
Do we want to pull it down or go forth with that?
You know, we've been communicating with the person who completed this project, letting them know that they are to send everything to our office. So did they send it directly to you?
Bill McCoskey took care of
Okay.
this for me, Julie, so I'm really not that.
Okay, I'll talk to Bill.
up
It's
to
not a
speed
big
on it.
deal.
You want to give him a call, and if
Yeah.
there's something we need to do tomorrow, let's
Yeah, this-
change it.
That's
If not,
fine.
let's leave it how it is.
That's fine.
Is this the project that Weathersfield Township has some questions
Yes.
on?
Mhm.
So where are they at with it now?
Who? What?
Weathersfield Township.
So item 17, Gary, is fine. I just question 18 and 19. Based on our last meeting, Commissioner, we explained that the acreage that they wanted us to potentially reject was unplatted acreage that wasn't put before the planning commission for any action. So the primary issue they had with that particular project was not a topic before the planning commission. We could not vote no on something that wasn't presented to us for a vote. What was put before us was the cul-de-sac. So it was the installation of the street, the roadway, the drainage. Gary could talk about that too. And as long as it's built to standard, then the next step typically is then it would be presented to the commissioners for acceptance. And that's what we've been advising the person who installed the street to do.
Do we need to table these two items or? It seems like something is not organized. I mean, do we need to table these?
I can hold these for.
Not 17.
17's fine, but the other two.
18 and 19,
You can hold them until.
unless
check
even
out
if you can
things
find
check
something,
out.
you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Just sounds like it's a little unorganized, you know, and we're approving things.
Oh, on the, and Commissioner, I'll admit that on these maintenance bonds, these forever extensions, I am not the expert on this. I do depend on my staff for these portions, and it's part about the maintenance bond. I mean, this is just for the water and sanitary sewer line, which is standard for just about any project. But if Julie's saying that this isn't the proper
Well, it's
format
well,
for it, then.
it's
yeah,
part of
let's
one of
do
our
it.
replats, Gary. We talked about this, how you require a maintenance bond and then we require a maintenance bond. And typically it has to be in the developer's name. Do you recall from the last?
Yeah, see, now this is where, you know.
It's okay.
I let other people.
I'll talk to Bill about it. It's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But this is why I like to review these ahead of time. I didn't get a chance to see this before this meeting, but that's what a workshop's for, to discuss these items. Right?
All right, Commissioners, item 20, our Still Wagon Road, water project. We are in a position to go ahead and put this out to bid. And, we do have 1.344 million of, grant funds available for this, and hopefully our bids are gonna come in below these, amounts. Item 21 is time for my office and the highway engineer's office to submit our pre-applications to the Ohio Public Works Commission. And these are the 3 projects for the year. I know that our Rio Vista sanitary sewer project is going to score high since it is a consent decree and we have a lot of connections and we have a lot of match. So I went ahead and gave up the first 2 slots to the highway engineers so that theirs will score higher on the points because I know Rio Vista will have plenty of cushion there to still score the funding.
What were some of the other ones considered?
Well,
I know this is in essence us as commissioners voting what our top 3 priorities are. And we've been there before where I went and even testified in one of these meetings when they rejected some of ours, and it was because we voted them through that way. We were kind of stuck with them that way. I mean, what are the other options for us to choose from besides these 3? Are there other options?
Well, between my office and the highway engineer, these are the projects that we're putting forward.
Are there any other ones, Williams Drive or any of the other ones you talked about?
Oh, that Williams Drive, that'll come in a future round. It's not ready yet.
Okay, it's not OPWC
No,
eligible?
no. I'm looking at that one to get it funded the same way we just did that blueprint phase 2. That WSRLA fund with up to $4
What
million.
about some of the ones we had rejected in past years that we didn't get funding for?
Well, the only
Those all
one I've missed, in the past few years is Crane Drive, and we got that right back last year. That was 2 years ago.
So there's no others pending that we got rejected on?
No. This is the next one up in line, Rio Vista.
So when we say 2026 Trumbull County road improvement, do we know what roads those are, Gary?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, Gary, Trumbull County Engineers. We can correct it to 2027, Lisa, please. So we say, now we have about 5 roads right now that we're estimating the final one, and then how much money we have available for local match, how much grant are we going to request. So it's down to about 5 or 6 roads, Commissioner.
Will you provide us with those roads in? We know what they are.
Eventually.
So when you apply for these, you just apply for an amount, you don't have to get paid.
No, I'll have those roads. Yeah, these are due in a couple weeks. And yeah, we'll come down to the wire with which roads we have. It's based on ADT. There's a few different things that we're gonna base it upon. I can share them with you. Now I'll shoot you an email. Yeah, I'll copy all 3 commissioners, let you know the ones that we're considering.
Yeah, we should know that because we're saying this is the commissioner's number 1 project. We don't even know what the roads names are.
I know.
And is there a dollar amount that you're going after?
Rough, yeah. We typically will ask for $750,000, $850,000 and then match that locally with about $500,000, $600,000 of some in-kind services. So that's what we're working on now. Seeing how much in-kind we can put in there to use as our local match and how much money can we leverage. Get enough points because there's different thresholds for your percentage of local match. So we don't typically score as high. Sanitary does, so I appreciate Gary working with us, putting us number 1 and 2. The East Market's pretty straightforward. It's out in the early calendar year 28. Resurfacing the East Market Street from 82 all the way up to Howard Wilson's. GDI got done. 46 East Market Street's getting done right now. They both off Howard Wilson. That would be perfect time for us to come in and pave that road. It's sort of. For the 5, 6 roads, I'll give you guys a list of the ones we're considering.
Appreciate that.
We try to spread it around. This year, we're doing Mines Road and Hubbard Major. So next year's we're considering different ones throughout Warren Township. Off the top of my head, 1 or 2 over in Weathersfield we're considering.
Okay, just shoot us the email. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I do have a question, Gary. How many more consent decrees do you have?
This is the last project in that Meadowbrook area.
Meadowbrook,
Yes.
Maplewood? Because we
Then
have.
after that, it's
Hubbard
time that
Township.
everything goes to Hubbard Township. We come out of Warren Township and all the focus is on Hubbard
Oh,
Township.
the only reason why I ask you, because I'm in Hubbard and I get a lot of calls.
And that is the last sensory area.
So that's probably, we're looking at that, what, 28?
Hopefully, we have that preliminary engineering plan. And since we were unsuccessful in getting any money for a big design
Well, not
engineering
yet. We
contract.
still might get some, right?
All right.
I think we still might get some.
We ask for it every year. I don't know if we'll get it or not, but we do
Yeah,
ask.
but I
for
heard
it.
that it was, that and the tower was, moving forward.
You're talking about through the appropriations, federal or state?
The ask that we made,
I think that's to the federal.
federal.
Right, but we were told that it was looking good and then all of a sudden they pulled the rug out. I remembered it.
I heard they're not gonna go with 3
Positive.
million, but I heard that they're gonna go with a
Uh,
reduced amount.
all
Okay,
right.
we'll look into it.
Well,
but,
in
yeah.
any event, what my plan is on this coming up round for Ohio EPA WPCLF, you can put in for nominated for a design. And I was at least going to nominate it and see if we can use 0% money to at least start the design on this thing. You want to get the entire area designed and then start breaking it up pieces
Mhm.
for financing. You have to have that overall engineering.
We know where it's gonna go. The initial study showed where it's gonna go.
Oh, yeah,
Down
yeah,
Applegate,
okay,
so we
yes.
know. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
and at least we'll get it nominated so we can have some money for engineering. And if the other money comes in, we can use that to help
Yeah, let
match
me
it.
look at I should ask today. Okay.
You think KO Consulting had the money? Is that what? Maybe they have.
I understood that it was part of that, the tower, right? 911.
That was the only one that went forth by the congressman and the senators was the tower.
You sure? Because they said, not even 2 months ago that study money was moving forward with it.
Well, we had
I'll
submitted
find out.
for
Yeah.
mosquito.
I'll find out.
Yeah, Congressman Joyce, he was giving us good news at first on that, but then, yeah, we got the word commissioner
All right.
that.
They don't fund studies,
find out.
what they told us.
All right, commissioners, item 22, this one I'm hesitant to bring in front of you, but we need to move forward with this. On our Meadowbrook project, I sent you an email describing this. And I do have members from Burtis and Nyepel here this afternoon. Do we have any further questions regarding it?
Oh, thanks.
Gary Schaefer, since the resident.
Yes.
You look at that first map that I brought out to you. It's the general plan of where we are installing sewers as part of the Meadowbrook Phase 1. And that line down Meadowbrook Drive that I highlighted, that is the trunk line for the entire election system on the east side of 11th Road. It's 18-inch diameter, large pipe, average depth around 20 foot. And they've been working on installing that line. Mike, how long have they been installing that line on Meadowbrook? I mean, has it been a year?
Close.
Okay.
It started early spring.
Oh, it's only late fall now. I thought it was last summer we were out there starting on it.
I'm sorry, could you come closer to the table? Would you be able
Yeah,
to?
you guys swap seats in there.
And I need you to state names.
You could sit at the table.
Yeah, come on to the table. And grab one of them chairs back there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I remember it was last summer when we were that first little section here. We had to get that road back open back up so APL Horror could get in there and build a plant. Yeah, we've been messing with this thing for about a year now.
Yeah, so Jeff Winter with purchase tonight. Yeah, so as Gary mentioned, the first manhole there at the intersection of Meadowbrook and North Levitt, that was installed by last fall.
Okay.
Then
That was the first
That's the
thing.
first thing.
That was the first thing that Woodford did on the
yeah.
project.
Yes,
Right.
that was so.
I need you to state your name.
Mike Lucas with purchasing.
Yeah, that was so, yeah, EP can go in and start working on the plant project. Then
Yeah.
after that was done, Woodford went up and did North Levitt, all the stores on North Levitt. Then they came back and started down the length of Meadowbrook early spring, around March of this year.
All right. And Commissioner, when we were putting in that first little section of road there, it goes down into the treatment plant. Amy, do you have that video?
We weren't able to get it.
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff.
Oh, I sent a video to the commissioners in that email. Did you see that video where they're trying to compress that muck down into the trench? Did you click on that on the email that I sent?
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand what, you know.
Yeah, well, what we found out is that the original plan was that we were gonna take a majority of the soils that we excavated and install the pipe and put them back into the trench. And what we found out is that material was unsuitable to put back into the trench. In this area up by the treatment plant, this first little leg, we didn't. I went ahead and gave the verbal authority, let's just put 304 limestone back in that trench. We were under a time crunch. AP had to have access down there to that treatment plant. But once we got past that, we looked for a cheaper alternative to replace that soil as we went down Meadowbrook Drive. And that's when we came up with the plan of well, let's salvage as much as we can. Are we sure that the soil is going to be this bad the entire length? We weren't sure of that. We didn't know how the conditions were going to change as we extended down through this area. And as we progressed, as we found that limestone sand material, we got it a relatively cheap alternative to premium backfill to put in here. And as part of a previous change order on this project, we put a unit price to that limestone sand material. And we didn't know what quantities of it we were going to need. And because we just didn't know what the conditions were going to be as we progressed the entire length. The commissioners, after the entire line is now in, we came up with the amount of additional limestone sand that we needed was about 20,000 cubic yards. Well, increase the quantity from 2,174 cubic yards to 22,174. So we want to add 20,000 cubic yards to the allowable quantities in the project. And how many yards did we need just on Meadowbrook? You had that number for me.
Originally, the anticipated amount.
What's your name, please?
Mike Lucas, purchasing. Oh,
Yeah, there's a recording. That's why you're gonna say that.
oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, originally, 13,200 cubic yards is what we anticipated we were going to use on Meadowbrook. That was when we were strictly going to have the sand required for Meadowbrook on this change order. And then you had requested that we anticipate possible other areas where we may need it.
So we've used 13,000.
We have not, we're about 12,000.
Oh, okay, so we still have.
We might be about 1,000 in the good. Okay, I was clearing that up this morning. So
Okay.
they are basically wrapping things up now.
All right, okay.
So of the 13,000, we've used maybe a little over 12,000.
Okay. So, commissioners, with this amount, this quantity that we are putting into this change order, it will give us cushion to also complete these other streets on Pangbourne, Hobart, Flora, Pendleton. And we are hoping that we are not going to have to, that it's not going to be as prevalent in these areas. The sewer is not going to be as deep. We can we don't use the entire quantity used in here, we will get some of this back as part of the final adjustment. Pay for this change order. I also sent you, if you look in here, we are under budget throughout the project. Based on the spreadsheets, we, in the contingency amounts, our total budget for the two Meadowbrook contracts and Pendleton Gilmore, our total budget was 30.91 million. And with this proposed change order, we are at 27 million. So we are still have about $3.8 million worth of cushion for these first two phases of the Meadowbrook project. What that means is that the amount of 0% money that we are going to procure from the Ohio EPA, it is going to increase by the amount of this change order, but we do have enough funding to cover it. And when it's all said and done, it's going to come down to what's going to be the final capital charge for all the 700 residents within this area. And we will still be below the $35 per month. This is not going to exceed that. We're still, like I said, 3.8 million below that budget number.
So this additional change order monies comes out of contingency?
It'll come out of the Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. After you approve it here, you can see also subject to approval of the Ohio EPA Division of Financial Assistance. They take our executed change order here, they'll review it, and they will allocate more funds for the project.
I mean, we have no choice, but what I think commissioners, I think we had discussed in the future, it would be nice to know where we're at in advance of these kind of change orders. You know what I mean? If we know in advance that we're going to have, I mean, this amount's a big amount. So for the commissioners to approve the amount, I'm just saying that, you know, if we know 6 months ago that we were going to come up with these kind of numbers, I know you can't project that, but we would know that we're going to be way over, but we're still under budget. That I like hearing, but.
All right, well,
fine.
Yeah, Gary Newbrough sent our engineer. Commissioners, I did brief you on this verbally, non-formally. I think all three of you, at least twice, about the difficulty we're having going through here. And I didn't mention that.
This is where you're
eventually, you know, we are going to have a change order. It's probably going to be at least $1 million. And I did let you know that. So it wouldn't be a complete surprise.
Yeah, but well, here's the complete surprise to me. How much of this work has been done without our approval?
Well, it's an adjustment of quantities.
Well, but you use those quantities without coming to the board asking us to adjust those quantities, correct?
Yes.
So that's the problem. And that amount, and what would that amount total be right now?
Well, that's what I just asked Mike.
And my question to the prosecutor is, this is after the fact, Mr. Danzo. So legally, where do we stand if they're asking us to change a change order that the work's already been performed?
My question to go along with that.
Well, yeah.
To go along with that is how the engineers not know that. And when we did the bid in the first place, Gary had a price tag he gave us, and now the soils for a whole roadway, miles of roadway, is different than what was the engineers gave us. It cost us over $1.2 million more.
Yeah,
I mean, who was smart, Gary or the engineers?
And it doesn't matter who's paying the bill. You know,
Right.
I mean, if we're lucky that we don't have to pay the bill, but I'm not so sure that, you know, anybody should pay the bill. I mean, or can we pay the bill? Mr. Danzo, I hate to put you on the spot again, but.
Bill Danzo, prosecutor's office. I'll start by saying this is generally speaking the exact reason that change orders exist legally is unforeseen site conditions. So that by itself is absolutely normal. As long as there was nothing that was missed in the process of the design. Again, this is when you read the revised code, when you read contract language, generally speaking, unforeseen site conditions is one of the big reasons for change orders. Now, with that in mind, I understand, the commissioners are concerned that, that this wasn't brought to them before with the change of quantities and the change of dollar amount. There, and I hate to get into too much of this publicly. I mean, there is a legal argument that if the commissioners didn't approve it and don't approve it, then the payment can't be issued. That absolutely, without doubt, is going to lead to a lawsuit. And then, that's going to be an additional thing that we have to deal with as a county too, cost wise. And then where does that shake out? Here's a question for Gary, I guess. I just, practically speaking, because I don't deal with the state much on this, is had we run into this limestone and said, you know what, guys, let's call it a day, let's pack up and go and not install the sewer, what would happen to the money that we already spent? I mean, if we don't do the change order, I don't know what the alternative. I mean, do you know, Gary, would we have to repay that money to the state if we abandon the project? I guess maybe that's just a hypothetical at this point, but
Consent decree.
Yes. We would. Well, we got a treatment plant up there that's not complete. What would we do? Just abandon that?
I guess that's my question is what do we do? I'm not sure. But again, I guess.
Well, I'm sure the DBA would tell us we want our money back.
Yeah.
That's just
So, I mean, I guess it is up to the commissioners. The commissioners have the authority to, decide whether or not they're going to approve the change order. I just think that, there's a lot of unknowns here that the commissioners would want to consider. And if they do consider just not approving it, that's an option. But I think that's where I just say, I think we need to know what the consequences are that could flow from that, because, there could be some unforeseen circumstances there.
With all due respect, Mr. Danzo, but we're talking after the fact, not before the fact. Okay?
Sure.
We're talking that the work was already performed, okay, without our knowledge, and now you're asking me to approve that. And my question to you is, is that a legal option for us to be doing? Should we make it a past practice that we approve change orders after the fact?
Well, I will say this, for right or wrong, for better or for worse, it has been practice here in the county that's happened.
Well,
now, if you guys want to stop it, you have the ability to stop it, but you're not free from whatever other legal consequences may come from that. I'll say that. And again, that could be a lawsuit in the common pleas court over here. That could be, that could be additional legal expenses, cost of defense. And if that's where the commissioners are at, you could attempt to do that. I don't know exactly what would end up happening is the bottom line.
Well, I kind of agree with, just to touch on what Commissioner Malloy is saying. Why was some of this missed in the initial testing? Yes.
Yeah, Tim Antos, Burgess and Michael. To address your guys' questions, we did do soil borings throughout the project. We're approximately 40 scattered throughout the area. Specifically on Meadowbrook, there were 5, I believe, all taken to a depth of approximately 20 feet. Those came back in the soils report, which we can provide to you guys. They all came back as being cohesive in nature. That's how they were generally characterized. And that word generally is important to understand here. Generally characterized as cohesive in nature, which suggests they are suitable for backfill. There are a couple instances in the report where it does say natural soil can be used for the remainder of the backfill of the trench. And also in discussing the backfill of the trench, we're not talking about the entire trench to just fill with this material. We've got about 3 feet or so at the bottom. There's a premium granular backfill. The rest of that was then designed to be the natural soil, the excavated material, if you will. And then after that, we had another 4 feet on top, which would be the premium, backfill 304, which was going to be introduced now. And also we use that detail because that detail is a prevailing practice in engineering. It has been used on other county projects. Heat and Shoot is a perfect example of that. We discussed that approach with Gary and his staff. Heat and Shoot, if you remember, also has deep soils, deep sewers, wet mucky conditions was used there. Also, the same detail and approach on soils that are very similar, identical, very similar on this project also. We're also working on the other side of the Mahoney River there on Riverview, I believe. Very similar installation, deep sewers. We did not run into the same problems in terms of the soil being as difficult to work with and compact. The soil report also references that the ability to make that determination if the soils are suitable for reintroduction back into the trench is wildly dependent on what is observed in the field at the time of excavation. So while you do have these soil borings and information at our disposal, things can change and be unforeseen in the field once you actually excavate that material up. Again, we're not talking about material that's 5 feet up, it's 20 some feet down in the ground.
And how far down did you go with your soil?
20 feet, 20 feet of 20 feet or a refusal.
So kind of in, as layman terms, you're telling me you can do a soil boring, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's accurate.
It's the same tomatoes, Burgess Nickel. Yeah, I mean, you could spend an insane amount of money on soil borings, as we all know, soil borings, artesian wells, things like that. You know, we've done waterline projects before where you've got 4 houses on the corner, you know, and 3 of them have good wells. They're all within 100 feet of them. And 1 person doesn't have a good well. They've got garbage underneath there. So soils conditions can vary wildly under short distances underground.
But like Commissioner Malloy said, this is a whole road though.
Well,
I
Gary,
mean, is it common to miss the work by $1.2 million?
Yeah.
I mean, we paid for engineering so that the contractor would know what he's getting into. I mean, if it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done. But if we would have known in advance, maybe he could have picked a different route. Maybe he could have not done this project in the order that he did it. Maybe we would have allocated more money up front to do it without changing anything.
Commissioner, the money isn't the issue. The issue is they performed the work without getting our okay.
Yeah, but the work, I
They
don't
already
have
have
such a
funds.
problem with that
The
as,
funds are there from the EPA.
right?
If they're asking you to award a change order for $1.2 million. Now, if you're comfortable with that, that's you.
No, I'm not, but I'm, there's gotta be some fault on the, he can only make the cake with the ingredients he was given. And if it's told that here's what it's gonna cost you, and he started into that and it's costing more, we're already into the project. What are we gonna tell
But they already,
EPA? We're not doing this, we're
they
not doing
already
this,
made the cake without getting your approval. That's the problem.
That gets back to when you see you got a problem. I know, Gary, you were coming back, but you know, we knew that there was rock, you hit some rock somewhere. I know there's a lot of different things that commissioners have to listen to on a daily basis, but you know, if we would have known, I think that's the only, really, that's the main thing. Have we known in advance where we were going to be, at least a ballpark, hey, commissioners, listen, you know, we're going to have a lot of material here. And, you know, then that would have been easier to take. This is swallowing something that, after the fact, like you said,
After
the
the
cake
fact.
is made.
Oh,
Gary, that way.
yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineers. Commissioner, if you look at that diagram on Levitt Road, even on Levitt Road, I mean, that's in the vicinity too. Did we have much of this on Levitt? But just right there on Levitt Road, we didn't have a problem. Down here, as we were progressing, we were hoping we were gonna run out of this thing again. Well, we didn't know how long we were gonna be in it. We didn't experience it up here on Levitt. We didn't experience it on the other side of the river. We were just hoping this thing, we were just in a bad vein and we were gonna pop out of it. But it didn't happen. And so it was difficult for us to come up with, well, we know we gotta get that pipe in there. We know we gotta get it in deep. And to come up with a quantity before they did do it was a difficult calculation. And that's why, the main reason why I didn't come forward with you honest ahead of time to get a large quantity. We were hoping we were going to come back out of it. But we did have a quantity for 2,174 cubic yards there, but we found out that that was much too less. The line item for 18-inch sewer, where the contractor pays us by this much per foot, that was all authorized. So him going and putting in the sewer line, that was all authorized for and paid for to go down this road. It was just that this quantity for this, the backfill was what was not approved.
That's 1.2 million.
Yes. And hopefully we can get quite a bit of that back. We increased this quantity to 22,174. And Mike's telling me we've only used, what, 15,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. So,
Mike Lucas, Burgess and Eichel, it looks like we may have used about 1,000 yards less on Meadowbrook than we were
initially told me.
But yes.
How much have we used so far?
12,000.
Oh, so we are still way ahead. And these are shallower here.
It's Jeff Mornish with Purchase Tonight. Well, yes, once we get off of Meadowbrook and head north, the source.
Well, why did we? Okay, so I got a question. Why are we all the way up to an extra 20,000 and we only need like 15?
Because it's still unknown what the contractors would run into. Storm conditions up there.
All right.
This was the worst case scenario. We didn't want to come back later on if we did run into that.
So as of right now, we're about $600,000 off in change order.
Correct. Yes.
I would
Not 1.2 million.
I would rather approve that, and then when we know where we're at, come back at. We don't know where we're at right now. I mean, we're approving 1.2 and we're at 600. That's
I guess that's what they're asking for us now is we're at that, but this is what the worst case scenario could be. So they want us to approve what the worst case scenario might be.
Well, we're asking for an extra 20,000 cubic yards. It sounds to me like we only need about 15.
The 20,000 is total. Mike Lucas per.
Right. Well, it takes our total quantity to 22,174, 22,000. And we've used how much so far?
12,000.
Is it just shy of 13?
Just shy of 13,000. Yeah, 12,500.
And we're authorizing 22,000. So that's 9,000 cushion. And we're in shallower things here.
The company, Jeff Mornish with Purchase Tonight. We did run some calculations to figure out if there, and the 20,000 or the 22,000, the total quantity would be, that would be enough if they had to do the full depth sand, the rest of the sewers, that quantity to cover. But the hope is we won't need it.
All right, so that number is based on if these streets are the same as we are on Meadowbrook.
Yeah, and a good portion of that. And a portion of that quantity too is
hopefully it's not going to be that bad, and we got soil like we do on Levitt.
Yeah,
but it could be the amount that would be needed if we ran into the same conditions on Meadowbrook.
Yes.
This is the amount that we would need to cover.
Correct.
Okay.
And overall, you still think we'll be within budget and not going to come back to assess for more money overall?
No, not for this item. I can't make any promises on the other aspects of the project. We are having a meeting with Warren Township on Thursday to talk about their roads and what they are actually expecting us to do out here as far as the restoration of not this phase, but throughout this whole area. Our normal contract requirements are to restore the roads to original condition. And these roads are just crumbling, and I mean, I don't think they've been paved. I talked to a road department guy. He said he's been there over 10 years and he's never had a paved. So these roads were in very poor condition before we started. I think there's more cold patch out there than original asphalt in this area.
Was there any estimates done on that before you started the project?
Yeah, we do have some line items in there for road restoration and things, but we're not sure how to handle the road issue. So there may be more coming, work something out with Warren Township. Anyway, that's to be discussed, but to let you know that there could be upcoming increases due to the roads. And as we went down Meadowbrook Drive, The idea was to only have the trench in one lane of the road, and the other half of the road would stay intact as we built it down. We were building in on the north lane. And as they were pulling that trench box forward, and digging out in front of it so they can pull forward, the entire road is collapsing, not just half the road. So Meadowbrook Drive, we know that over twice as much of that road needs restoration than it originally did. I think once they got down a certain amount, that it didn't collapse as much. So we know there's going to be additional work on these roads. And in the treatment plant itself, we made a few adjustments on the lighting. Just the other day, I saw something about the worm fire chief. He wanted more fire extinguishers in there. You know, little things like that. So there's going to be some additional things that we went ahead and made field adjustments for on the treatment plant. Also, there's going to be some extra costs there too. But right now, we just haven't put it all into the shape of a change.
Oh, what do we do? We have a change order for 1.25 million. Right now, we're at 600, I believe.
Ish. But Commissioner, what they have just told me is that for these, if we have the same conditions on Meadowbrook, on these extensions up here, that's the amount we're gonna need. Then this is the worst case scenario. And that's why they came up with that amount. So I think it's best if, I recommend that we go ahead and approve this amount. And you know, we always do the final adjustment of quantities at the end of the project, and we can be getting you know, if we don't only use half of this, well, half of the extra, then we're gonna be getting, you know, significant money back on the final change order. When it'll just be quantities that we're not paying to the contractor.
Gary, how long did it take for them to do this much? So how long did we not know?
That's what we were discussing at the beginning, Commissioner. They've been out there for a year. You know.
So we started to make this change a year ago
Yes.
with the limestone?
Yes. And I did bring it to the commissioners on, let's see here. Change order 2.
Yeah, but you brought that to us and we approved that.
April 22nd.
That's the difference, Gary. You brought that to us and we approved it. These totals, you never came to us and I just think, I can't get Mr. Danza to agree with me, but I just think that's a problem. That we approve a change order after the fact. That's the problem.
Well, Commissioner.
Or let me rephrase that. That's my problem.
I think what it really is the amount involved. The change orders, you know, they happen.
Yeah, but no change order should be granted until it gets.
You can't get the toothpaste back in the tube, and what do you do now?
Well.
Scrap the whole project?
Well, no, but you know what? You do what you want to do and I'll do what I want.
Well, Commissioner, the amount of sewer, 18-inch sewer installed is still the same. There's no change in that. It was just the quantity of this extra sand that we needed to replace that. So the work is the amount that was in the original contract. It's just the materials that we needed for it.
When I get that, I understand that, but I want you to also get and understand what I'm saying.
So with this in mind, would it be out of line to approve an amount and wait to see moving forward what that additional amount would be? In other words, instead of the 1.2, the 600, and then want to hear back to see where we're at.
It's Jeff Morris, Burgess Sniper. Yeah, we can definitely revise the change order just to include quantity of sand used for Meadowbrook Drive to date. Come back later.
And then if they start in the neighborhood, you got a dozer out there, you got the road tore up. We're gonna wait week to week to say we need another 2 trucks, we need another. I mean,
Then
we can't
we
tie
can,
their hands down. This is,
we can.
time is money.
Then we could, plate it a little bit to cover a little as they start down, paint boards would be the next road they do. Then if we can see how things go, then we can talk with, Gary to see what additional quantities of sand we need. Look, what additional quantities of sand it's looking like we're needing moving forward to finish the project and come back with another, change order at a later date.
Is this already included in the cost of what we've already paid you? Or is this additional cost to you to monitor again and look to change?
All included. Because we have a gentleman out in the field that's overseeing and taking reports on how the conditions are out there on a daily basis.
I mean, one commissioner would rather do it that way because what's in discussion here is that we didn't know in advance these amounts. Now we would know what's the additional amount moving forward. I know it's a pain in the you know what, but it's easier to swallow, to approve.
I guess my thought would be not happy about the estimate being off so much. I thought we could have done a better job with that. Not happy that we didn't know that much in advance and we're making a big change and there's a bigger number coming, even if we didn't know what that number was. But as long as we stay within budget of what was allocated for this project, then I'm okay with allocating up to what that amount is that we have in this project. If he's got to save in other areas to make up for this and do things differently that way, as long as we're within budget on the whole thing in the end game, when this project's said and done, as long as we're still hit budget that we budgeted and didn't cost anything more, then I'm okay with the whole thing. We start getting to where I need another 200 here, another 600 here, another 1.2. Then there's more of a problem I would have by missing the mark so much. Tweaking things along the line. We've had many sewer projects, and like Bill said, I can remember going back my first couple of years. We had a lot of change orders, and we had talks with, well, even with 3 or 4 different department heads about change orders, about cutting back on it. And I'm sure things like this happen every day with the engineer's office and other things too that they've got to do it. We just don't have to deal with it as commissioners so much. They work it out internally. This is one, of course, it's our big ticket area, but we've had change orders in the jail. We've had change orders in the courts, things like that have been done before we knew about it. And it's not a perfect world to do that, but I understand it may happen in construction.
I disagree. I think you're writing a blank check for change orders without authorization, and I think that sets a bad precedent.
Sometimes it's something like this, and what do we do? There is no alternative.
Yeah, the alternative was come to us with the amount.
And then what? We were going to tell them to do the project differently?
No.
Get sand cheaper?
Listen, I'm not an attorney, but change orders are supposed to be approved before they happen. That's all I'm saying. We weren't notified, and you're asking me to approve something that was done without our approval. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know if we want to set that type of precedent here for the county. I mean, I don't.
Well,
Nothing to do with the funds, and the funds available, not available. It's how it was done.
and I don't disagree with the commissioner. I don't disagree with you. You know, usually aren't in disagreement on a lot of different things, but in this case, it's already, the pipe's been laid. We're in a position.
Doesn't make it right though.
It doesn't make it right. Exactly. But because you don't want to set a precedent for this to happen. But I think because we do change orders, and I agree, we should know in advance. However, this amount is so great that it's overwhelming. But it doesn't change the fact that we've done it on smaller amounts. And I mean, Commissioner Malloy thinks just move forward with the whole 1.2 million. My idea is, listen, we know we're at 600 or wherever we're at. Prove that amount and then let us know in advance where we're going, where we're gonna be with that additional. I know it's not, you know.
I just don't
It's
hold
a lot
construction.
I don't understand,
Going
but
up
I
in
don't
the
think it'll
fall,
hold
I
up.
don't want to stop a crew
I don't
while we
think-
wait for a decision
I
from
don't think
us.
it's gonna hold anything up. I mean, once you get yourself, we're at 600. Once you get yourself to another, couple hundred or 300, you're seeing that hey, here's where we're at.
Well, Commissioner, then you're opening the door to do exactly what Commissioner Bernard has a problem with. We
Yeah,
go
but
ahead and approve what was put in so far, and then we don't have a quantity to go above and beyond that. And I'm back in here again saying, we put this
Well, isn't
sand
that-
in the hole and you guys haven't authorized
But
it yet.
isn't that the proper procedure?
But that's
to
why I'm
come in
saying-
with us and saying, look, I need additional material. I'm thinking, I need this much before you do it, not after the fact, before the fact.
That's all.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all I'm trying- that's
Commissioner,
all I'm trying to say.
yes, Commissioner, I would have loved to have done that.
Well,
We did not have an idea of how much this was going to be.
yeah, but you knew
We
that
didn't
you were
know
gonna
how
need more
prevalent it
material.
was, yes.
You knew that you were gonna need more, and that's my problem. I
I can understand that, Commissioner. I respect that.
And
totally.
maybe
I
someone else
understand
needs to tell us to pay this bill.
Well, in any event, this soil had to come out, get trucked off and get replaced with this sand.
I'm not.
And if we would have known ahead of time, if we would have approved quantities ahead of time, no matter what, this had to happen. It was inevitable. There was no avoiding it.
I'm not questioning it.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
questioning procedure, process.
Yes, and I do admit that it could have been
And
better.
it could have
If I could have came in and said, well, commissioners, right now we're running into problems. I need an additional 5,000 cubic yards. Can you get that? We'll see how we are. And that's the way it should have progressed. I was looking for more information concerning that and discussing with the engineers. It was hard for them to come up with a number for me. And that's why I briefed all three of you as the project was progressing, telling you I was running into this problem, let you know there's gonna be a big change order down the road for this, but we don't know how much it's gonna
To me,
be.
that was the legal process that should have happened.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with it being after the fact.
All right. But in this event, commissioners, if you go ahead and approve this entire amount, I'm not gonna be coming back to you. We are not going to put in something that's not approved yet. And what we don't use, we're gonna get back. So I would recommend we just go with this quantity here. And hopefully, we're saying we're gonna use 22,000 of this, maybe we're only gonna use 15 or 16. It'll just be, a line item that doesn't get fulfilled and we'll get that money back at the end, but I see no problem with just going ahead and approving it now. It's not money that we're just gonna, you don't write a check for 1.2 million to a contractor. Just allocates the money down there with the EPA that they do have this quantities up to this amount. If they don't use that amount, then final change or we subtract it back off the contract amount.
Well, I think that's fair. We got the cart before the horse, but at least now, if we approve it up to that, then we're doing what you probably should have done a year ago.
Yes.
And if you would have said we might use all the way up to 22,000, we probably thought that's crazy, but we would have said yes. We wouldn't have said no, you can't do that. Use different sand.
Right. Believe me, a lot
Marbles or
of
something
research
instead,
went
we're
into
gonna
this. Yeah, a lot of research went into this sand too, to find the cheapest, best suitable thing that we could put in that trench.
So I guess that's correcting a wrong that should never happen in the first place. But I put blame in a couple different areas on this, and then learn from this, I guess, in a sense. But I do think we need to approve whatever you think they're saying we need to get the project done. That's still under budget, you're saying,
Yes,
and give you up to that amount.
yes.
And hopefully you don't utilize all that amount.
All right.
But if not, we're gonna be back in here. At least it's gonna be rewriting these things up 2 or 3 times with every neighborhood or every block. And I don't think we need to tie your hands that way, or the construction company.
I'll sleep on it.
I already slept on
I know where you're at.
All right, well, Commissioner, the other component of that change order is that extra 34,000 for the extra asphalt roadway resurfacing we had to do out on 11th Road. Originally, we only had enough quantity in there for the what would be the southbound lane. And then after we did some far side connections, we had to open cut that road. It was going to give us that sort of piecemeal pattern of paving on this part of Levitt Road. And the highway engineers, Gary, did you require us to pave the entire thing, or was that our request?
Requested that, yeah. Because you guys had extended, Gary Schaefer, engineer's office, extended it a little further to the north, so everything from the pavement. We had agreed on that you guys were to do an overlay, so we carried it a little further north.
Item 23, to rescind item number 18, Commissioners' recommendation meeting agenda dated July 21. Read, we concur with Senior Services Advisory Council's recommendation and finances with the public and interim transit administrator for distribution of senior levy dollars to agencies as listed for the term effective September 1st, 2026 through August 31st, 2028. Senior Service Advisory Council is reviewing the 2026 submitted bids and make future recommendations for contracts to commence November 1st, 2026. This, along with the next two items, were submitted by Diane DePepe.
Andrew Kovacs, Senior Levy Administrator. Number 23 was done because we have the right or wrong. I forgot to legally advertise for the subcommittee meetings that review the bids. So we're rescinding this, and along with that, items 25, because we have current contracts that would end August 31st, we have the ability to move them up or to extend the contract 2 months. I figured 2 months is what's needed in order to go through the review process again, and then to come back to you with our recommendation. I have a calendar laid out again. This is the hope to get it done by this time. So we're extending the contracts. Our next council meeting will be properly advertised along with subcommittee meetings that are going to take place to review those bids again. The council will have to come back with their recommendations at our regular meeting on September 17th. Unfortunately, but fortunately for me, I'm going on vacation right after that. That was the original plan. I had it all laid out nice and easy, but I created my own mess here, so I'm trying to clean that up. When I get back, I will have on the agenda for you on October 7th, the reallocations or recommendations for the awards. These subcommittee meetings are done in executive session, so I forgot to advertise for that. I apologize for that. We'll have those executive sessions again. They'll fill out their grading sheets again. They'll come back with their recommendation of funding. I can't say if they will change that or stick with what their original decision was. It'll come back to the commissioners for you to accept or change. Any questions?
Are the amounts all the same?
What you're seeing on here, this is the way the contracts were that were awarded in 2024.
Right.
That expire on August 31st. So this is the same unit rate and same dollar amount that they would have got for the next 2 months. I took 2 months of allocation to extend the contracts. I'm hoping to have all this done so that on November 1st, our contracts are in process or ready for November 1st start date.
November 1st will be the new amounts, the new contract
Right.
terms.
Which
here's another positive to this. We used to have, a section of our contracts were started in October. Some of them started in September. So now they're all going to be at the same time. Our senior centers contracts start in November. When we do that cycle, all of these will be now November. So it does get us into a pattern that's more palatable.
What about the mowing and snow? Is that gonna start the same time too?
Snow, we have to put out bid quotes, some bid quotes from the various vendors, and that'll be coming for mid-October. So I haven't started that process.
And that'll start November 1st too, just like. you said,
November
also.
15th is what, our snow runs November 15th through November 1st through March 31st, and our grass cutting starts May through October. So yeah, I have that small cycle that will be different, but all other RFPs, the full RFPs will all start on November 1st. Now, I don't know, I can't speak for the council. These are your appointees. They've reviewed the bids before. They spent their time reviewing them. They came up with their scoring. They're going to go into executive again, make their decisions. I can't say if they'll change it or not. If they don't change it, I'm recommending that the parties that are not happy with the bid result, their recommendations from the last cycle, if it stays the same, I recommend that you meet with the council and the two vendors that are involved in that area of service that's a question right now. So you can hear both sides of the story, whether it's in a special meeting with all of you present. That's what I would recommend you do. Questions? I apologize for my error, but we all make mistakes.
Not working or not making mistakes. I'm gonna check now.
And one word here, making mistakes.
That was from Alan.
I will not.
Item 26 is to approve opioid funds be utilized for continued support of the medication assisted treatment program at Trumbull County Jail in the amount of $50,000. Utilizing Fund 079 over the past year, the program has demonstrated clear value in addressing opioid use disorder with over 60 inmates having participated in that program. Commissioners previously approved $50,000 be utilized out of opioid funds on April 22nd, along with the county jail receiving a grant for $50,000 from the Attorney General. These monies have been expended. County jail is eligible to reapply for grant money in October of 2026. And this was submitted by Major Bobby, who was here. If you have any questions.
Good afternoon. Dave Bobby, Jail Administrator, Sheriff's Office. You got any questions?
I don't have any questions.
So the original $50,000 that we received, would have been a bit over a year ago. We spent that relatively quickly. That was through the Attorney General's grant. So it included $200,000 for the programming, for us to hire the program coordinator, and then the $50,000 for the, it's a separate medication, separate fund for the medication. So we pretty much spent that pretty quickly. So
This is April 2026. Was it a year ago or was it?
No, it was
That's only a couple
April.
months ago.
Yep. This past April.
So we went through $100,000 in the last 4 months.
Well, 50,000.
50,000 4 months.
First 50,000 was last year, like a year ago, August, is when we first started. Like a year ago, we started the $50,000. The grant money. Our grant was actually April 2025, but we didn't start using the medication money until the fall after we got Dr. Prager and everybody else on board.
Sharon Taylor, Commissioner, why only 50?
Finally, what?
Why only 50,000?
instead of like 100, because you guys are
Asking for it.
for the, yeah.
So I'm gonna reapply for the grant again in October. We had to wait till even though we spent our medication money, we still had to wait till we spent everything to reapply.
Okay.
So, right, so we can reapply again. We're gonna reapply in September, hopefully for October. So we'll get 50,000 again in October.
Okay.
And I don't want to ask for the money until we need it, because if our population decreases or they're stopped, hopefully we don't need it. That's our goal, is that we stop having to give the shots. So if the population decreases and we don't have the need for it, then, I'm not gonna ask for it. And it's administered through Dr. Craker and Meridian, and we also pay for his nurse and additional mental health counseling, because you're not supposed to just give the medication. It has to come with support and counseling. So we pay for that counseling through the other grant. So same grant, but not the
I just wanted to
medication.
make sure you had.
Yeah, when we run out, we ask for more. So,
Well, we're used to it.
well, I mean, it's
At least you're upfront about it.
yeah, I'm not gonna ask for
Yeah.
200,000 and just let it sit there.
Do we know how much of it is going to administration and how much of it's going to actual drug?
All that goes to drug.
All 50,000.
Yep, it's the administration. When you talk about Dr. Craker and the nurses and all that stuff, I'm paying for that through the $200,000, the grant. So yeah, that we basically we buy the Brixadi and the Vivitrol through CorrectRx is where we buy our medication, and then when we get our invoice, they highlight the MAT, the Brixadi, and then they give that to the clerk, and then she pays that right through that $50,000. So it's simply for the medication. And some of it, if you do the math, over 60 inmates times however much the shots are over $1,000. Some of them get more than, they're supposed to get some of these shots either weekly or monthly, depending on what the doctor decides to do. So some of them may get multiple shots before they meet. So.
Thank you. Right. Okay, so that takes care of all the items on the agenda. Before we open it up, I have one thing, gentlemen. Last week when we presented Trumbull Trucking with the award for being in business for 100 years. I got this idea and I want to run it by you guys. I think maybe the commissioners, I think we ought to start a program where we spotlight a business in Trumbull County each and every month. We research a business out there and we honor them for being a business in Trumbull County. It can be a small business, it could be a medium business, it could be, there's no boundaries. It's just that I think it would be a good thing for the commissioners to go out there and reach out to our businesses in Trumbull County, and we honor one each and every month.
So we've had 7 economic development tours with a bus. We went to Strimbo, we went to the Powell Company, we went to the steel mills, we went to all these big businesses you're naming. Actually, there aren't any real big ones we missed here that I haven't reached out to through Beth Carmichael on that tour. We had 30 or 40 people go on these tours. There's a lot of them like Strimbo that impressed the hell out of everybody that was on that bus. I think we had to look to that first, that the ones who've already been there and toured and were part of it, that opened up their doors to the commissioners and the leaders in the county. Instead of reinventing the wheel, there's a lot of great ones we saw that I'm still in my mind. I'm still impressed with a couple of them that I saw, and I think everyone on the bus saw.
I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I think there's some nice mom and pop shops out there that have been out there for a long time.
Sure.
And they're important too. So, we can.
And we went to some of those too.
And we can pick and choose, who we want. Maybe each month the commissioner gets to name a business, but I just think it's a good program for us to start and enact it if it's all right with you guys. And you know what, we can decide how we choose who it is. I don't think anybody's ever gonna vote against a business. It's just, I just think we need to look at all of them, small, medium, and large, because that's what diversifies our county. And I just think it's a good program for us to start.
And we do have our next economic development tour coming up in October, and I think you're looking at well, Beth already has the itinerary of what it is, but there's 3 or 4 she's already got on the schedule for that I'm excited to go see. It's ones we haven't seen yet.
So if you guys are all right, we can start that.
I don't
It's something kind of like what the planning commission, what they do each month, you know.
Yeah, like something good initiatives.
Yeah.
We'll still on the.
And I still think too, I guess I'll remake my proposal I did last year.
Yeah.
That I wanted to have Blaney Day in this county to honor the Blaney family. The mother was on the Tourism Bureau for many years and active in civic organizations. The father, Sharon Speedway, was a legendary sprint track racer. Both sons, one NASCAR driver, one champion racer, and now a nephew was born in Trumbull County, a top of the sprint car, top of the thing champion, I should say, in his NASCAR thing. And I voted to do it last year or before you guys were here, and it was seconded with Morrow, and we never came to fruition. So I'd like to bring that up too, to honor that family again someday with a day, because of all their contributions to Trumbull County. And I think the same way with what you're saying, businesses, there are some people in the county too that have made a mark, that made a difference in this county, from Hollywood directors to athletes that have put us on the map, basically, with Trumbull County in a good way. And we should look at that stuff a little bit more too. Maybe to blend in with what you're saying, as we recognize small businesses, accolades of individuals too, or families.
I have no problem at all.
Sky's the limit. I mean, you just pick and choose what you. Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioners, if I may, Julie Green, I just wanted to announce that we're kicking off our countywide land use planning update. And our first meeting is for the northeast quadrant of Trumbull County. We're having it at Kinsman Township Building on September 3rd in the evening at 6 p.m. There'll be a first of many. This was funded through the Ohio Department of Agriculture grant we received earlier this year. And so now that we have the grant and the funding is already set up, the next step is community outreach. And so I just wanted to announce that, and I'll provide copies of the flyers to everyone via email and ask that the various communities and elected officials post these. We have a QR code that we have included on the flyer for a community survey. And so it's a very large initiative countywide. And so we're looking for some good community participation. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is it's that time of year again, every year with the Planning Commission. The commissioners are required to, well, not required, but you choose to receive applications from the community on the expiring terms. This year we have 3 expiring terms. They're all at large. I've already emailed Lisa with the application and the scoring matrix if you choose to use that. But our request is that the process be completed for continuity of service, through, sometimes it's lasted into the new year, and sometimes that interferes with Planning Commission being able to vote on certain things in January. So if it starts now, in August, hopefully we can get new applications, or if you choose to reappoint the 3 existing members, again, that's the commissioner's selection voice. One of the things I did ask is if the people who are up, who have expiring terms, want to reapply, what is your preference on what would you like to see from them? Is a letter of interest or an email sufficient from those members who have served on the Planning Commission over the last several years?
Probably the same as we do with any other board. We get an application all over again, or a resume of sorts. We don't really know their background when they came in. It's only fair to the whole public when we post it that the whole public has a chance to to put in for it. We post it and that's what we do with every other board.
But that's why I'm asking, because it does vary year to year, depending on what the board prefers. So if you could, no, I did not copy. But,
Well, Lisa, you could forward it to us.
what is that? So what is the preference then? So I can advise the 3 members.
You want to pick?
Something in writing of sorts, I guess, that has something about their background or.
But they can send it to Lisa and then she can make sure we get it.
Right, but she's asking, do we want a resume? Do we want an application? Do we have a standard county board application already made up?
I've already prepared all of that. What I'm asking is, in the past, people who are
I
expiring,
just want to make sure you went through me. It does not go through county chart and any.
Julie Green's Trumbull County Planning. What I'm asking is, in the past, when people are expiring off the board or off the planning commission, it's not a board, it's a commission. What you have asked for in the past is just a letter of interest. Now, I do provide a application, a scoring matrix for your use, and an advertisement for people at large who may want to apply for it. And you do require that from people who are not current planning commission members. So do you want the current planning commission members to also apply and provide a resume, or is a letter of request for reappointment sufficient? What is your preference? That's what I'm asking, just so they have
One
some
commissioner for me.
guidance.
I'm fine with who we have and I don't need another application, but anybody new. I know who's on the board and I have no issue with it. So why not?
An email? I'm not.
Yeah, an email's fine, whatever. I don't want to make a big deal.
I'm just trying.
Trying to stay on by it.
No, I want.
A letter of interest that they are
Yeah.
interested
Well, she
in
wants
being
to provide,
reappointed.
if the commissioners want a resume for the current board members, which I wouldn't
What
require.
do we have, what do we
I
got
was
you
just
do,
gonna
Diane?
say, I've got Diane Jacob, senior levy. I'm listening intently because we also have 3 members that will be up for renewal if they want to renew, or 3 basis, depending. I will find out on September 17th at our regular meeting if any of those members want to stay on.
Commissioners, Alex, Stephen, Jonesy, Bush, and Resources, it does not go through me. However, as being somebody who hires in this county and has a set kind of practice, these 2 aren't your only ones here who have these commissions, right? You're doing this a lot with mental health and recovery, like Board of Developmental Disabilities, Children's Services Board. So it may behoove the Board of Commissioners. I hear what Julie's saying loud and clear, and I can also have sentiment for what, Diane's saying. It may behoove the board to decide for all that you're planning on putting on commissions, how you want that process to go. And that process should be done by the board, this board, or whatever board they're after, right? Or so that way it really should be consistent. I think that's better government.
And I agree with you, and some of these board members were appointed before we came on, so I would like to see a resume and an application. That way it tells me about them. So.
Okay.
It's a simple
No,
process.
thank you. Julie Green. I just wanted to make sure I had the correct information to communicate to them so that they could present it to the commissioners.
And I agree with Alex,
I'll let
it
them
should
know.
be for each.
Thank you.
Every.
I Commissioner, I agree with you too, because if you're gonna keep the public trusting us, they want the best candidates forward representing their tax dollars. And if we don't have something to compare, they're just gonna say, he picked a buddy, or he's, they're rubber stamping, or that's so-and-so's, neighbor or something. This way, the best ones will rise to the top through what they present us.
Well, you could look at it that way. I don't look at it that way, but whatever. I have no issue. Either way you want.
So resume.
Either way you want to go, if you want to put the resumes of everybody, that's fine.
Commissioner, you still have the right to vote for or against.
I know.
Resume and application, right? Not just a letter of
Six ways
interest for those that are already on the board. That you have.
I mean, there's a standard application, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
I created one for the Board of Commissioners several years ago, and I shared it with you. If you choose to use that That's up to,
I don't want to reinvent the wheel, I just want
Yeah.
to see the wheel.
right. Yes, so I just want to communicate the correct information to the people who are leaving.
I think anything current, and we say resume, I'm not expecting them to go hire somebody to do a resume form, of resorts, but at least put their qualifications down on there somehow so we understand why they're the most qualified to be appointed to that board.
Absolutely. I'll let them know. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, you ladies have anything?
We do.
Oh, wait a minute, excuse me.
Diane Dracovic, Senior Levy Administrator. On a positive note, we also have our Centenarian Day coming up, that we've been gathering names for those who are 100 years of age and older. I believe we are up to 13 or 14 right now, and our oldest lady from last year is still alive.
That's
I
awesome.
love
Last
her.
year.
That's awesome. So,
Wow.
108. I love her. I just heard a report in California, a lady turned 100 and she skydives. She did it in the 90s. She did it at 100 and she's hoping to do it at 110. We are not going to make our seniors skydive, but we're accumulating that list now for our event and more coming.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, now.
Okay, we're going to move up here. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. 32. Right here. Just gonna give you a little bit of room. Oh, thank you.
Commissioners, Rhonda, you and I have never met personally.
Maybe outside of the voting. place.
Commissioners, this is Rhonda Brooks. We were supposed to have a meeting this week with the Scope Center individuals. Okay, this is concerning bingo. They had contacted me. Diane's here, so that's good. She stayed and I appreciate it. So Rhonda, why don't you introduce yourself and everything?
Name and go from there, please.
Okay, Rhonda Brooks, and of all the hats I've worn in my life, the one I'm wearing today is a senior citizen. And I'm in Brooks Grove. So, should we just go forward?
Just
Saying what I have to say? Okay, so I'm from Hubbard. So I'm here to represent our seniors at our facility. And I'm going to issue the bingo for cash at our senior centers. Some of our seniors, that's the only activity they attend. Because of physical limitations, transportation, whatever. There's a little community of people that look out for each other through that. A few people that have fallen in their homes, they reach out to their bingo people to come and help them. And that's what it's about. Unfortunately, this new thing has come that we're not allowed to play for money. So we'll go into that in a minute. I attended a fundraiser last weekend. It was a purse bingo. As much as those purses were worth, they are not my preference. So, and we have that same situation with prizes. The seniors do not want to play for prizes. We've lost a third of our people at Hubbard. And eventually we'll lose more. Because there's a few that are not going to be coming if it continues. They're kind of holding out for a better resolution on that issue. So what I want to say is we feel that it is our right and it is legal to play bingo for money. The way we do it at Hubbard may not be the way all the scopes do it. Therein lies the problem with accountability and different things that have brought this issue to light. I feel that the administration could have handled this situation 2 months ago when it was brought up, and it would have never had to make it to here. So I apologize for taking so much of your time to deal with this, which doesn't seem to be important in light of everything else I heard today.
No, everything's important for our seniors.
I mean, it's important to our seniors, and that's the only thing that some people do. So I want to just go over the points that I've heard and the issues that have been discussed. Number one, we were told they didn't like the inconsistencies between how the bingo was run at different centers. I get that. Set up some rules. That's their job. As the administrators over the senior centers, that's their job to create the rules and the guidelines for the centers, not to take away things that we like to do. Then train that staff in how you want it done. I do know that Kathy Lee came on after a death, wasn't trained, had no idea about some of the things that were expected of her. And there comes a problem with that. But that's not her fault. If you're worried about legalities, I believe that was all covered in the Ohio Revised Code 173.121 about the seniors and the ability to play bingo in the facilities with certain guidelines, all of which are followed at the Hubbard facility. If you want to talk about accountability of money, the way we do it, we put our little quarters in. At the end of that game, those quarters are paid back to the winner. There's no scope money involved. There's no accountability required. But if you want them to write down how much was taken in and how much was paid out, that's an easy fix. So there are solutions to every problem that created this. Someone had looked at those individually, and I know the legalities have been questioned through the prosecutor's office, so that shouldn't be an issue. Instead, the option now is for scope to put money out to pay for prizes for people to play. Prizes that no one wants. We don't want shampoo and toilet paper, just like I didn't want the designer purses chosen for me at a purse bingo. So does it make sense for scope to purchase prizes when the funding at the centers was cut earlier this year? They came to all of us and said, hey, funding was cut. We need your $20 donation from everybody. Okay, if that's what you want, that's fine. There was a big push for that at the centers because the funding was cut, which doesn't make a lot of sense in another issue, but that's I don't want to get into all that. So it's creating more work for them to account for this. I was told Kathy Lee estimated $4,000 to $5,000 a year in prizes. Where's that money going to come from? When the seniors are paying their quarters and getting it right back, why are we going through all this? Why are we going out and begging area businesses to help donate prizes for a situation that doesn't have to be that way? And the seniors do not want it. So I'd like to see a solution to this. I did reach out to Access last week, offered to help create some solutions, sit down and discuss how we can bring it back. I got no calls back. So here I am. I wouldn't be here today if I had got a call back and we could negotiate it that way, but apparently that's not happening. So we're coming back to the commissioners and saying, please help us with this. Because eventually what's going to happen is those people that only come out for the bingos are not going to leave their houses any longer. They're not going to reach out. They're not going to have the socialization and the interaction that they deserve. So I'd like to see a solution, and I'll be a part of it if you want, but I don't think, when the funding, it's costing us too much to support the bingo at the facilities. Then we won't play bingo at all. Any questions?
Well, the money, let me understand this. So, you pay a quarter for a card
Yes,
and the money goes into a pot.
we put it right in a little plastic container.
And at the end of that game, whoever gets bingo, they get all those funds. So if there's $1 in there or 50 cents in there, that's what they get each and every time.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, that may not be the way it's done at other centers because I'm told they have to have money for snacks and they're buying snacks, which is actually under that law. They are allowed to do that. They just have to account for it.
Could utilize that money for.
And I did talk to Kathy Lee last week and I said, if you just did, hey, bring your own snacks. We're not toddlers. We could go 2 hours without a snack, but it's part of the socialization. So if they want to do it at those centers, they need to find another way. But the bingo is a more financial feasible option for scope, as well as that's what the seniors want.
I get that, and I say this before. My mother, she loved bingo, and I understand all that. I just don't understand legally. Can we tell scope which direction we want?
We can't. That'd be blackmailing business saying if you don't do this.
That's our problem. I agree with you 100%, and I get it. I mean, you know what? If you play for 50 cents, it's more exciting than you playing for a pencil or a pen. I get that. I just don't know legally where we're at, other than saying, we definitely support you.
I think Jeff,
And I see the
Diane,
smile
Jeff is gonna take
on
us
your
under
face when I talk,
advisement,
Bingo. So you really enjoy it, and that's what it's about.
Right.
Getting you out of the home, getting you to a site where you can have some fun and it's not about winning a lot. It's just that you've done that.
I think we support you 100% in this, and we want them to. We wish they would change their policy. We don't control them. All we can do is drop them, get rid of scope, and not re-sign a contract with them when it's proposed to us. We can't tell them how to run their business if that's what they choose.
I think it was Access Family Services.
It doesn't matter. That's the parent company we contract with, and all we can do is say you're no longer running senior centers anymore because the people aren't happy with the way you're doing business. We can't tell them you got to change it. You have to do this. That's a decision their board makes and how they run their business. A legality thing between them and their attorneys and their counsel. We can recommend it to them as we did, but we can't make them do things differently. That's their business. All we can do is drop them, fire them
Diane,
if we don't like their policy.
Diane Dracovic, Senior Levy Administrator. It's a corporate decision, a board decision, how they make the game of bingo. It is not my job to say what senior centers can and can't do as far as their activities. But to keep that activity legal, you've got to follow the legal standards. The quarter per game, I guess, is what is being, not per card, but per game. That is what you're allowed to do, as long as the money paid in gets paid out or gets paid for supplies. There has to be some type of trail to prove that the money came in and the money went out. That's never been an idea of the question here. Each senior center has their own board of directors. Access is the board of director for 7, 8 sites, 9 sites. Then we have 4 other sites that are independent. They can run their bingo however they want to run it, as long as it's within the law. And that 25 cents is allowed. But if corporate decides they don't want to deal with the money, somebody possibly being accused of stealing the money, that's when the board said, Access Board said, no, we're not dealing with the money. We will do prizes.
well, why don't we as a board of commissioners write a letter to the corporate asking them to reinstate gambling for.
And I told Dan, I think we're walking a fine line there. Prosecutor, your opinion is important on this. When we're telling them, we're doing that under what? Under what threat? Under threat of canceling their contract?
We're not making those, we're just asking them.
Well, how are they going to interpret it as a
We
board?
were just asking them to reconsider this.
well, and
You
the
know,
reason
in the
why,
best
and the
interest
reason why I
of
would
the
say
senior
that, Commissioner, is
citizens.
because
You're pushing hard.
we've received, I can't tell you the amount of calls I've received personally, and maybe because, well, you wrote about it, Raymond, so maybe they're reading it, reading these articles, but there is a problem. And I don't think it's out of line for the commissioners, like Commissioner Bernard had said, to write a letter and not to demand, but to let them know, listen, the commissioners are being inundated with phone calls with, people that, are seniors that are upset about this. This is what this is all about. We would appreciate your consideration.
To reinstate the way you previously ran.
We would appreciate your consideration in reinstating this and to adhere to the ORC, 25 cents a card. That's the way it works. And let these seniors continue to do what they like to do. This is what it's about. This is why we fund Scope in the first place. It's for the seniors. And, if they're not happy, then they're not going to come to those centers. Like Rhonda, you said, if they're not playing bingo, they might not come back for an exercise class or for, maybe they're just not going to come out. So I think that's a great idea. I think we should write to Access, whether it goes through senior services. And Diane, you could say, hey, listen, the commissioner, they are requesting that you pay, your assistants, that, you would understand that we are being, this doesn't stop, by the way. I'm still getting phone calls.
It's just a great concern on the way they're operating bingo now.
Right. Rhonda Brooks again. It may become a commissioner's issue when that added expense is presented back to you to say, hey, we need more money to run the bingo.
They haven't done that. That's a bigger budget.
Our facility, Scope hasn't bought any prizes. We, as the seniors, have brought the prizes in ourselves.
Well, my understanding was is that Jeff said that he was buying prizes, but then I understand that maybe that's not necessarily true.
And he did tell Kathy Lee to
Maybe.
continue purchasing prizes until for this, for the,
Yeah, and
for the
there
seniors
might
to
have been
win.
some sort of disparity, but maybe all of them are being singled out for one disparity. I don't know where that comes from. And I'm not gonna mention anything or names, but maybe something was happening which caused this. But I don't know that all these centers should be that should be penalized for that.
Exactly. I would like to speak
Yes, give your name.
when it's my turn.
Yep,
Yes.
it's your turn.
All right, I'm Dorothy Kramer and I am also a member of Scopian. I heard the huge amount of money discussed here, and so we're peanuts, and I know it. But I'm 94 years old. And any luck, you guys are all gonna get to that age too, and you're gonna be in my position. And when I play bingo, I don't have to think, I don't have to remember anything. I can miss a number and nobody cares, nobody knows. And I'm at ease. I'm in charge, I'm an independent operator. And I very seldom can be an independent operator because I can't drive anymore. The vision is leaving, the hearing is leaving. And you just gotta know what this means does. So push a little harder, whatever it takes, push a little harder. Please.
Thank you.
Very well
We
said.
need it.
Very, very well said.
Very. And that's it.
And this is why,
And that's what it's-
and this is why we're here.
And that's
Okay,
what
this
it's
is why we're
right
here.
there, right there.
Exactly. This is why we're here. So, I mean, we need to do something. Access needs to understand not only our position, but their position. Their position being, this is an emotional
It is.
situation. So, and could you imagine going somewhere and your mind goes blank? You don't have, like she had just mentioned, you don't get that. It's hard. I mean, we don't get it. I know that. So we need to do something.
Play bingo at the senior center.
No, listen,
He doesn't have.
I get it.
luckily I'm a male.
Male
A female would have taken that too.
There's guys there. Get that.
Huh?
What do you mean?
I don't feel my age, though, to be honest with you.
We will definitely write them a letter and please keep us informed. And ma'am, anytime you have something to say, you call us or you come here because.
It is a dumb move on Scope and Access's part. I mean, they gotta see this and think, that's the dumbest move they
If
ever
they're
made.
here to experience that, I mean, would you, if you have a heart, forget about that quarter and whatever, let's,
There is certainly an employee who can take intake a quarter.
Yes.
And expend
Yes.
the $2.
Do. We don't need to. For something like.
Are we 94?
We can't use our quarter.
And when you're 94, you can do whatever you want. You say whatever you want to say. Yeah.
well, I'm proud to say I'm from Hubbard with your representation here.
Very, very well represented. And we'll keep you informed. And Commissioner, you have Rhonda's.
I got all
number
that
and all that.
information.
And
That's what, that's, I know, I agree, but they didn't want to deal with it at all. I mean, that's corporate decision. I don't know what the other senior centers do.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you should find a way to be.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, and if you're getting.
We'll make sure you get a copy of that.
I'm not responsible for the
That would be
organization's duties and jobs that they do. And it's- I understand that, that's their, I understand. I don't even want to involve.
This was supposed to happen this way last year when they were here, but it never.
Because, she's on stage here.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna wanna.
There's no, we just want to.
and understand where we're.
I've heard that side of it too.
It's gonna go
To
two ways.
it's most of our.
Sides. You know, now they're going.
Point of their buying price.
And you brought the
Oh, it was just,
I-
there's.
I don't see any.
Really sucks.
Like John.
I don't see
It's
any.
John.
That
you don't know.
But
I got it.
it's important to have everything you want.
Yeah, right.
In my opinion.
But just to keep it going until.
I'd always have, you know,
Have you lived all your life in Trumbull County?
What?
Have you lived all your life in Trumbull County?
No, very living.
Oh.
Matter of fact.
Oh.
Just on that side.
So getting half.
Yeah, that's.
Well, now
There's
listen.
there's gotta be a way they can be accountable.
Yeah.
There has to be a way.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
They did not say that. They said.
No, I know, we need to.
Period.
Well, I will.
Well, see, where we say, listen, we understand there might have been something that you uncovered, they uncovered with 50-50.
Really?
Forget about 50-50, but these seniors want to play that.
We not do.
Do away with.
How long ago?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
was
was the year on the ground.
It's not,
Conversation.
go by to be having.
We need to.
Commissioners? Make a
Okay,
motion.
good, next thing. Oh, okay, all right.
Whatever that much. What, honey? Good job.
We need.
Nice bag,
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second.
Fernandez. I second.
Yeah.
We gotta get some pressure.